Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Focusing in on the aftermath of depression, helplessness, disenchantment, really that sort of depression, that hollowness that is felt after being discarded, after being basically dumped, after being devalued to such an extent that one feels a sense of violation. And this is not from a normal healthy relationship. This is from a relationship with a character disordered or psychopathic individual known as narcissistic, or, in the more extreme cases, the psychopathic individuals. And really the feeling of depression when I speak with clients and through my extensive research, the depression is coming from a true sense of self-doubt. And self-doubt, which is tied to low self-esteem, which is not trusting that you have personal value, which of course is a fallacy, which of course is not true. However, in the aftermath of these very abusive relationships, these people pine and deliberately treat you and instill a value system that is meant to put you down rather than lift you up. So this sort of depression, this feeling of hopelessness, is a learned behavior. It is a learned emotion. It is very much similar to the test. I remember studying this in college, and it was studying the behavior of elephants and how they would demonstrate learned helplessness. So, for example, a elephant was tied to a pole. They were tied to this sort of pole, like a not a mast, but like just like a stake in the ground and a pole. And so if the elephant tried to get away, it would tug, and it would eventually realize that it was wound up and, tied and adhered to this pole. And each time it would struggle and try to get away and gnaw at it and try to get away. And, this went on for, an extended period of time. And, basically the elephant had then tried so many times that they then gave up. And what researchers found is that even after cutting that rope off of the elephant would stay right near the pole. They would never venture out, any further than the extent of that rope. So this is what a psychologist call learned helplessness, and very much people feel the same thing. It's a habituated feeling, basically, it's a learned behavior. So it's something that's conditioned, it's something that's programmed within an individual to feel helpless, because really, truly, the natural state of the organism of a person is to live by, trial and error, and to discover their environment and go on adventures and experience things and, build up their reservoir of knowledge. That's the natural human momentum. And, like the ancients who studied in Egypt, they very much realized that oftentimes the seed of experience was based on your verbalization. It was based on your word as law. So like the 7 Hermetic principles that look, one of the first principles that they look at is everything is mental, which means everything must first exist within the mind before it is to exist in the outside world. So the interesting fact of this depression, of this sort of feeling of worthlessness and this feeling of like I can no longer meet anybody, is very much a learned, programmed, conditioned emotion within those people who have experienced a narcissistic or psychopathic relationship. And if you've experienced a psychopathic relationship, I feel for you. I understand. I know unequivocally without a doubt, what you're experiencing. Without a doubt. Through my extensive experience with this population, through where I was raised, in, in an affluent area where you've got a lot of A-type personalities, extremely goal-oriented people, very affluent, very goal-oriented sort of community, very much on the up and up, the movers and shakers of society, and the economy. I mean, really those types of people. But, realize that those types of people got to their position by a number of things. Oftentimes it's merit, yes, but oftentimes there's other personality characteristics that make them inherently able to, utilize their talents or utilize their talents, but to the detriment of others. So, I mean, and I'm not, I'm not putting down where I grew up by any means, but I've had extensive experience with this population, and through my studies, in psychology, I very much understand this dynamics and have an interest with. I have a very passionate interest of this, as well as those who who are successful and what makes someone a success. What are their thought patterns? What are their behaviors? What are their practices? Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. I mean, one of the best written books, describes, the power of repetition and the power of your thought towards creating, and manifesting and creating in your reality. So if you have been really involved with somebody who has chronically put you down, berated you, judged you, treated you like you were dirt, treated you like you were filth, treated, and not really based on any sort of action, but it's just an insulting, harshly critical person. I mean, and we're not talking constructive criticism. We're talking about people who just want to judge and condemn and make others feel inferior because it makes them feel above and it gives them a sense of power. And when we're looking at the psychological movement of the psychopath, they actually get, a heightened sort of a sense of accomplishment if they have hurt you. I mean, and I'm not talking just like, ow, here's a punch in the arm. I'm talking about, life-altering devastation. And so, I'm not saying that lightly, like, oh, it's life-altering. I truly mean, life-altering sort of changes. It's like a trip to, a war-torn country that you did not anticipate on taking. It's very much like the people who really survive and work through psychopathic relationships are very much, into almost like a war sort of sabotage in their life. They've encountered really to the extent that you see, prisoners of war that experience this sort of brainwashing or torture at the hands of their abusers, their captors, their enemy, the people who do not think like them, who want to belay their, their principles and their patriotism or whatever it is they're fighting for. And I'm very much not into violence, and I'm not into politics. But I'm referring to, the prisoner of war situation where they don't feed you, they don't let you sleep, they interrogate you, constant interrogation, torture, medieval torture practices that, are just meant to, make you so beyond yourself, you'll do anything and believe anything, and you'll recalibrate and reprogram your brain just to get out of the physical, mental, and psychological and spiritual pain. So it's a very insidious, hideous experience. And so, focusing back here on our topic at hand, and that is, really looking at how to, move beyond all this, which is the goal of this channel. I mean, all my videos, that's definitely what I want you to accomplish. So, realize the healing is going to have to take place once you realize the profound effect that these people have on you. Profound meaning that they're out to undergird your entire operating system, meaning your value system, your identity, what you hold dear, what you hold, what you love. I mean,